Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. A new chapter begins tonight as we welcome you to Season 8 of SDN Racing Tier 1. A fresh season and a brand new generation of cars, familiar faces returning to the grid, and some new drivers eager to make their mark here in SDN. Whatever happened last season is now history, because every championship season starts from zero, and every single driver arriving believe this could be their year to win the championship, as there's 30 drivers unfortunately. But there is one man carrying a target on his back, and that's the reigning champion of Eric, who won the championship last season after showing incredible speed but often held back inconsistencies and costly mistakes which cost him previous seasons. But everything was pieced together beautifully. And victory after victory, podium after podium, Eric transformed himself into the benchmark of the field and deserved lifting the championship trophy. And now the challenge completely changes now. Winning one title is another thing, but defending it is also another thing as well. A vast hungrier drivers who are looking to excel here in SDN Tier 1. My name is Jamie, and alongside me tonight is my Dutch co-commentator, your favourite commentator's English and Dutch duo. His name is Milan Langer. Milan, welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Great to be back. It feels like a long while since the finale of SCM. It's only 1.5 months ago, but it is great to be back. And of course, another new journey on this brand new game with these brand new regulations. I can't stop saying it every single race we do as the season opener. But yeah, it's always exciting. So I'm looking forward to who's going to be quickest this year, because it can really change a lot from F1 25 going to F1 26. So the names we saw on top at the end of 25 might not be as competitive on F1 26, but who knows? But we will see, and how competitive the likes of Erik is going to be. Sasha in the Haas is going to be the first one to start the lap, I think, although he's not using any battery. Now he is, though. So I think he is actually starting a lap, because that's one of the Williams not getting in the way through turns 1 and 2, and then using a bit of battery on the exit as well. A lot of straight zones around this track, 5 I think to be precise, 4 of which were DRS zones on the previous game, and then another one coming up right now after the skink here to the right. A very short straight. I'm not sure why they added it there, but they did. At the end of sector 1, 27.2 to start off his lap, keeping it within the white lines here on the exit, and now using that battery all the way down this back straight, carrying as much speed as possible, heading towards that turns 9 and 10 chicane, where we famously saw that super flipping in real life early on this year. At the end of that straight, when you run out of battery. Now through turns 9 and 10, looking quite decent so far for Sash. At least a good banker lap, it seems. Using a bit more battery, heading towards the braking zone of turn 11. Be mindful of that curb on the inside. Then careful on throttle as well. And conserving that battery through this final sector into the final hard braking zone around this lap, the left-hander, and then should be easy flat now on the exit out of the final corner, using the last bit of energy to cross the line. The first lap time on the board, the first lap time of the season is going to be 1:17.497.
Not too bad there from Sasha. It is his biker lap, so all he's looking to do is put a lap time on the board and try and beat it on his second and third attempts then. So decent, solid effort there from Sasha. Last season's race winner in Australia was Sasha, after a whole gaggle of cars picked up time penalties, including Miles Marcus and Happy Meal 2, with a post-race penalty hitting him towards the end. Fireblaze goes P2, who also picked up and benefited a podium last season too. So there is the podium sitters first and second place, as we see Kevin Zuckerberg round in the final corner. Kevin Zuckerberg approaches the line now, and it's a 16.9, and that is a solid effort indeed. We know Kevin Zuckerberg is always a challenger and a threat. Sam has left the session, which is unfortunate. He's only won one race last season compared to his season prior in season 5, when he took up season 6, when he took 10 wins in the feature race and pole positions too, and a few sprint races. And Kevin Zuckerberg is looking to try and bounce back this season too, hopefully. He's injured so far, but that will not stop him, and Kevin Zuckerberg will definitely try and maximise everything he can, despite his injury holding him back. But he's only injured his ankle, and despite him being on the wheel, it's certainly not slowing his progress down. Happy Mill, a massive wobble on out of turn 11 there, too trigger happy on the throttle, and as a result, unfortunately for him, has ruined his own lap time too. So just struggling with the balance of the cars there. Octavia goes P4 in the Cadillac. It's an 18.4, so well off the pace in comparison towards other people. Lucas goes P2, and Christian goes P5 with a 17.837. But Lucas closer towards Kevin. He's still in the Williams, and same as Kick. So both of them are still teammates. Eric is paired with Kevin Zutterberg. So we've got 2 champions together in the names of Kevin and Eric. And what a lineup from both Red Bull drivers. I can't wait to see their dynamic, their relationship as well, partnership in Red Bull. It's going to be super intriguing. We know Eric was teammates with Happy Meal last season, which didn't quite correlate to what he wanted as a teammate, but they did pick up a few double podiums too, as Eric took all the wins and left Happy Meal in his shadow, as Eric flicks his way through turn 6 with the straight mode activated down towards turn 7 we go, downshift up towards the gears we go, on the power again, use the boost he has available to him, just training all the battery. I wonder when he would decide to stop using the battery, down towards 20%. Then the super clipping will start. He loses speed and down to 300 kilometers an hour, which is horrible to see, which was first introduced in Australia too. When qualifying was concluded and the onboards came out, it was shocking to see that the cars were losing speed on the straight, and that's when we thought, oof, these regulations aren't the one. It's not too bad. It is still a problem in F1, but unfortunately cannot be fixed right now, and we have to deal with it until the next set of regulations come out, whether it's 2027 or not, with the new engine regulations. But Eric then grounds the final corner, and let's see what lap time he can set in the Red Bull, a 17.2 and 3/10 away from his teammate Kevin Zutterberg.
Decent lap time indeed, as Kick goes right behind him, 1,000 of a second slower than the Red Bull to make it a Red Bull Williams 1, 2, 3, 4 as it stands. But it's Kevin and Lucas very close to each other, then Eric and Kick also very close to each other, and then it's a bit of a gap towards Sasha in P5 and Farblaze in 6th, who's already gone out for his second run. 3 drivers at the moment still without a lap time. I'm not sure if Sam has rejoined yet, formerly known as Jason Green. He did race a few races last season, of course. Jason is now rebranded to QDR as TVHNL on his lap in this final sector. Hasn't set a lap time yet, but trying to do this. Looks to be able to do that as he comes through this final sector, really saving up that battery to have a good run out of the final corner. Don't expect him to be up there with the Williams and the Red Bull drivers, but can he at least get himself inside the top 10? Well, should be able to, as Finn has got a 1:24.0, but it's going to be a 19.0. So slowest of the drivers who have set a lap time so far, apart from Finn, who is once again invalidated. So seems to be struggling a little bit with the track limits around this track. Of course, not always easy around Melbourne. So at the moment he is still struggling and has to sit there behind in P11, but he's got enough time to still go out and do another run, as Octavia also back out on track, and so is Happy Meal with Farblaze. Is now nearing the final sector, the final few corners around this track, and he's going to be the first driver to try and go for a second lap, as Enzo has finally joined the session to make it 14 drivers tonight with 10 minutes to go. Farblaze starts his second flying lap. He's currently got a 1:17.8, so he needs to find at least 3/4 of a second to be able to find one position to get at least get ahead of Sasha as he goes through turns 1 and 2. Yellow flags up ahead. Let's hope that is going to be clear by the time he arrives, as he goes to the braking zone of turns 3, then through turns 4 there a little bit. He hits the curbing on the inside there, so not the ideal line through that corner. Let's see if he's gained some time in sector 1. Not quite 58 thousandths of a second down, so still within range of trying to improve, but definitely not the ideal start to his flying lap. Can he get maybe a little bit of slipstream of one of the Red Bulls that is up ahead? I think that is Kevin, but he's going way to the outside, not wanting to give any slipstream towards Farblaze, who losing even more time now in the middle sector, down by 1/10 of a second. But the most time I think can be gained in the final sector as he completely run out of battery by the end of this final straight, heading into the braking zone of turn 11. It's going to be easy to find an improvement for Farblaze. Really needs to make it stick in these final couple of quarters. Let's see how well he's going to take the left-hander and now the right-hander, still continuing on, not going into the pit lane, so he thinks he can try to improve as he comes towards the finish line. Can he at least find a little bit of time on his lap? Yes, he can. 2.5 tenths gained in the final sector, so a decent final sector, but unfortunately for him, not quite enough to gain him another position, as Happy Meal in the meantime has also started his second flying lap. He's also got a 1:17.8 right now in the session, but we shall have him as a moment on his previous lap, and he's already up by 0.2 of a second through sector 1. So that is already a great improvement for the Alpine driver, now making his way down the back straight. But he's already quite low on battery, a little bit lower than we've seen Other drivers do so, and he's dropping below 300 kilometers an hour as well. With the super clipping, but he's still up by 2.5 tenths of a second. But once again, massive moment there on the exit as Finn Geert goes quickest with a 16.9. His teammate struggling there through turns 9 and 10, just hit the inside curb, losing the back end, tried to correct it, but he went straight into gravel as Ryan Banning has also joined the session to make it 15 drivers in this session. So that is good to see, but a great lap indeed from Finn with a 69.20, 6 thousandths ahead of Kevin, who has invalidated, and so has Lucas. So both Kevin and Lucas struggling on their initial laps, but they still have the time to try and improve.
Indeed they do then. So it's a 16.9, only 6,000 separated first and second place. So small, finite margins between the top two. We know Finn Geert is super quick. He was in a PSGL social race a couple of days ago. And Kevin Zoeteberg, we also know, is a dark horse too. Eric, the champion from last season, flicking his way through turn 5 with full speed ahead down towards turn 6. And he's 2 tenths. So you can see him lifting off Lyco, as we call it, through turn 6. They're trying to save some more battery up to use it down this straight we go, and this is where we'll see super clipping coming to effect as well. I think Sasha goes up to P4 in the Haas with a 17.2, but Eric is making his way towards the end of the middle sector, down by a few hundred. So he's up in the first sector. He has a bit of a hesitation coming through turn 12 there, so that could ruin his lap time. Turn 10, sorry, because this track has been modified since 2022. So Eric has lost time through turn 10 there, and that could ruin and have an impact for the rest of his lap time. He's still pushing on and still going to see what he can find in this last sector. Eric is coming towards the final corner. What can he do in his Red Bull? Kit goes P4 in the Williams. He goes as Eric makes his way towards the line, and it's an improvement at 17.2. So there was many small slip-ups and hiccups on his lap times. That could indicate that there's more to come. There should be more to come, but his Red Bull teammate is slightly down in this middle sector. Kevin can find more time in the last sector as he heads down towards the final couple of corners where traction is very important. It's easy to mess up on traction there because of the battery and the boost, but let's see what Kevin could do. Can he take Paul away? The answer is yes. A 16.7, and he's clear of Finn Geert by under 2 tenths of a second. And so Kevin stamps his authority at the top of the field. But Lucas in the Williams there, let's see what he could do. Lucas won the Australian Grand Prix about 3 seasons ago. It was Lucas and Kick first and second place. But that was when me and Milan first started commentating those years ago. So it was the start of 2025 January, if I remember correctly, and that's when Lucas won ahead of Kick. They were fighting Silo in the Alpine, and Lucas then is on the charge. Let's see if we can try and take Paul away. He had a mighty strong middle sector that goes a bit deep in the braking zone and just overstepped it and misjudged the braking, so he may have lost a few tenths here and there, but let's see what he could do. He crossed the line now. The answer is yes, he does it. It's a 16.6, and he's fully ahead of Kevin by 1 tenth of a second then. So Lucas takes the advantage at the top of the field. Mum and Nick, well, there was some strong showings from Mum and Nick in another session me and Milan commentated. He was up there with Fireblaze, Kick and a van. So I wonder if Mum and Nick can repeat the same thing here in SDN Australia. Completely different track. Spain is more like a technical circuit. This is more like a semi-street circuit, and it's been around since 1996, I believe. Adelaide was the previous Australian Grand Prix until Melbourne took over. Adelaide, I think, is coming back to the calendar, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that a MotoGP? Yeah, sorry, it is MotoGP. That Adelaide. I can't even say it now. How do you say it, Milan? Adelaide. Adelaide, yes, Adelaide. Oh my goodness me, I'm not going to say it no more. I'm not going to say it no more. But that is returning in MotoGP, and there's been many frustrations about it because it's not really a great racetrack. So yeah, many MotoGP fans, including myself, is frustrated. Max is back in the pit lane. He has set a 18.4. and we'll have to find a lot more lap time. So every single driver is back in the session now, except for Geert, who is making his way down in towards turn 1.
And let's see if he can try and find an improved record. He's got a 116.9. He can get ahead, maybe ahead of Kevin, but he needs to find at least 3 tenths of a second to be able to get ahead of Lucas. But he's shown some strong pace before in this qualifying session as he does some lifting coasting there into the braking zone of turns 3, and now heading towards turn 4, looking very nicely there on the entry, hitting the apex quite nicely indeed. And we'll see if he has found some time through sector 1. The answer is yes, 2.5 tenths up through sector 1, so a great first sector it is for Finn Geert. You never know if he may have used a little bit more ERS in the first part than he did to his previous laps, as you now running out of the battery and will be starting to super clip as well. Once again down the straight below 300 kilometers an hour, but still 3.5 tenths up now in the middle sector. So it's absolutely great lap time so far for Finn Geerts. If he can put us together in the final sector, then there will be no doubt that he's going to be on the provisional pole position. Maybe even get into the 116.5, but it needs a good final sector. A little bit with a bit of wobble there through turns 11 and now turns 12 and heading to the braking zone of the penultimate corner, not as deep as we've seen other drivers do. And now we'll be using that battery all the way down the start-finish straight, but he's already run out of it. Is it going to be enough to try and find a time good enough to beat Lucas? The answer is yes. 16.5, 2, 1, almost a tenth of a second ahead of Lucas, and the Alpine puts himself back on provisional pole position as Sam and Ryan are having a bit of a moment in the final sector. Both of them are going back in the pit lane, so neither of them will be able to set a lap time, I think, because there's only 2 minutes to go and there won't be enough time for them to come back out on track. So it's going to be the last rope for two QDR drivers, but I'm sure their pace is going to be good to try and get themselves higher up during the races. Everyone else is going out on track, apart from Kik. He's still in pit lane, but I think he's going out right now, but he's leaving a little bit late with 1.5 minutes to go, but he is indeed out on track. So everyone out on track apart from Sam and Ryan. Mominick has started his flying lap, and so has Erik in the Red Bull, the reigning world champion.
Erik has backed up. I think he's going for a second preparation lap. He's just slowed down as soon as he crossed the line. But on board with the Audi driver of Mominick. Audi have only picked up, I think, 2 points in Formula 1 so far this season. But Mominick are flying for the first set. So 3 tenths up, goes a bit wide, but doesn't invalidate, which is the key thing here. Turn 6 is so notorious for track limits. It's easy to catch out, and you've got to carry so much speed through there as well. As Sam and Ryan Benink have retired there, so they'll start from the back of the field. Mominick is 4 tenths up in the first sector. Bearing in mind, though, he did set 80.0, so well off the pace there. So hopefully he's much more closer. And hopefully the last sector is where he lost all the time on his previous lap time, because 4 tenths is only about a 70.6, which is not good enough. But hopefully he's closer. But there is a Williams in front of us. I expect him to get out of the... Oh my goodness me. Mominick has invalidated. I wonder if the Williams was a cause of that one, because sometimes it does give off dirty air, and Mominick could have been affected by the dirty air. Dirty air is still a thing on this game, and it still affects the car. So unfortunately for Mominick, he has invalidated lap time. And 18.0 is the bench, is his best so far down in P9. Every single driver out there, barring Sam and Ryan Benink, who have called it early and prematurely retired from the session. So Sasha down in the first sector, as I've just seen. But who else out there is on an absolute fly so far? Who should I go on board with? Fireblaze, who is further up the road in comparison towards everybody. So here is Fireblaze then, a double world champion in SDN. He's taken 2 championships so far. He has the most championships out of anybody here in SDN, because there's not been a repeat since season 1 and season 2 of champions. Goes a bit deep there in the penultimate corner, scoops it up in the nice to the final corner. Here we go then with the straight mode activated. Let's see where Fireblaze can pop his Ferrari. He goes all stage P7, improves by 1/10 of a 7. There's a Cadillac in the background who goes P. That's Octavia, a decent qualifier for him, who usually gets knocked out in Q1. Kevin Zuckerberg has invalidated his lap time. It would have been a 60.4 as Sasha goes P4 in the Haas behind us there. Lucas has also invalidated. Here comes Finn. Finn raises the benchmark once again, and it's a 16.57. What a lap time there from the Dutchman, stamping his authority at the top of the timing sheet. And I wonder if anybody could dethrone him. Erik is still out there, so is Kik and Erik. The 2 lefts try and displace Finn from pole position. Kik is making his way now down towards the line. He goes. What is this going to be for Kik? It's only P5. And Erik, last season's champion, rounds the final corner. Let's see what he could do in the Red Bull, as it's only good enough for P4. That is the end of qualifying there. It is Finn Geerts who was on pole position with a 60.4, but Kevin Zuckerberg also did a 60.4, but as a result invalidated his lap time. So there is the timing sheets then. Finn is on pole, and Lucas, Kevin Zuckerberg P3, Erik, Sasha, Kik, Happy Meal, Fireblaze, Octavia, Max, Mominick, Tim, Colin, Sam and Ryan Benink. There is your session. Every single driver I think here is Dutch, and there is one Norwegian Dutchman in the session, which is Ryan Benink. Was born in the Netherlands but moved over to Norway in Scandinavian part of the country, which is a beautiful country indeed. I still want to go there. It's one of my bucket lists to go to Norway, but hopefully I do go soon. But the end of qualifying, and we move on to the 29 lap race around here in Australia. It's going to be a thriller. The past few Australian Grand Prix have been so entertaining. Remember that full wet race we had? I think like 2-3 seasons ago. I think it was, who was it at the time? Wasn't Kevin who won the Grand Prix? Was it Dylan Hogeland who won the race ahead of Kevin and Eric at the time? What such good pace there for Dylan and Dee, but he's no longer here. He's a PSGO driver now, an esports driver. A few drivers in this league as well. Excuse me. I had a lump in my throat, literally. I wanted to cough. But a few drivers in this league have left AMS. So AMS looks like they're falling apart, unfortunately. And Kik and Lucas have transpired over to ILT. Eric has gone to TRT. Sasha is also ILT as well. So there's a few ILT drivers. My former team, I was in ILT in 2021 when I was a driver. I'm no longer part of ILT. I'm just more like a friend in the community. And I still race for them in real life, which is in the 24-hour race, which I was supposed to be at a couple of weeks ago in Landstad in Eindhoven, but unfortunately that did not happen due to the hot weather. And talk about hot weather, it is very, very hot here. I'm sure it is everywhere else as well. In the UK, it's about over 30 degrees, and that is considered hot as well. The heat is something different, and the fans are on. I'm absolutely sweating in the commentary box. I wonder how the drivers are feeling.
Indeed, but I'm sure we're up for a great race here in SDN tonight. I think it's not going to be an easy race for Finn, but here we go then. The 5 tires for the season opener on F126.
The season opener is underway, and Finn gets a mega start off the line. Eric is bogged down as we see the Williams alongside, and he was up into P2 as we head through turn 1 for the first time in this race. All the drivers make it through cleanly, I suspect. There was 3 abreast at one point between the Cadillac and the Alpine there as we race on down in towards the first breakers. As we go, a few drivers there jockeying for position in the background, trying to make up as much ground in the first lap. Mercedes and the Cadillac going side by side, push slightly off the track, which was Sam. Sam has made up a huge abundance of places. He's up into P10 already after not posting a qualifying lap time, but seems like a clean start so far. All the drivers, all 50 drivers making their way through turn 6 we go. It is Finn who still leads this race ahead of Lucas. Kevin Zunderberg got a bit bogged down at the start of the race. Eric is right behind him as well in the Red Bull. Sasha on the pressure as well, up towards Eric as we file our way through turn on the turn. No major changes in the field. All the drivers remaining stationary for the time being. Octavia trying to move a fireplace. Look at this then. Racing down towards turn 11, the Williams under attack from the Alpine, who's trying to go around the outside, and that is an Alpine who's trying to go around the outside but can't quite make it stick. It's happening all. Oh, it makes no, don't make contact already at this stage of the race. Fireblaze goes through, Octavia goes through. I think Happy was a bit too eager there, and he pushed Kevin to the corners, unsettled him, and now he's trying to barge his way through. Happy was there losing places, that's what I said. Now we've got Sam who's alongside him going through the start finish straight, and they're banging wheels as well. So Happy is not happy at this stage. Through turn 1 he goes, and he's down into P9. And I've not forgotten either how frustrated Happy Meal could be, because sometimes when Happy Meal is in a bit of a hot bothered situation like he was just then, he gets a bit hot under the colour and starts driving erratically and wildly. So we saw it previously as well. He could be a really quick and consistent driver, but when something goes wrong, that's when he throws a tantrum and all his toys at the pram. It must be said for Happy Meal. I know he's frustrated. I know it's the first lap, and he lost a few places too, thanks to Kik. Kik was trying to hold his line through turn, I think it was 12 at the time, and Happy Meal just pushed it too far. McLaren and Audi then go side by side on this part of the racetrack, and let's see who comes out on top. Kik is ahead of Fireblaze as we watch these two in battle. The Audi trying to go around the outside but can't quite make it stick. That is, I believe, Mummy Nick in P13. Now he's lost a lot of battery too, so he can't save it, but he's still putting the pressure on. For some reason, I'm not quite sure why, I've only just noticed as well in the last session I commentated, the straight mode is not activated. Is it a visual glitch, Milan?
I think it is, because when you ride on board and look at the telemetry, I think it is activated, or it might not be on the opening lap or on lap 2 maybe. So it could be a visual glitch, as Finn Geert has a lead of 0.8 of a second. He was 1.6 seconds ahead by the end of sector 1, but it was down to 0.6 by the end of sector 2, just because he used up all of his battery, and Lucas was able to use some of it, and close that gap right back down towards the Alpine. Of course, you want to stay within that 1 second window, otherwise you will lose that boost mode, you will lose the advantage when chasing after another car. The car was once again 1.1 seconds. So Finn using his battery a little bit differently compared to the drivers behind. He's definitely trying to build a gap. Once again, it's to 1.4 seconds, but now he has run out of battery, and we'll see that gap come down rapidly down his back straight down to 1.2. Will become 1.1, 1.0, and under 1 second as Lucas bringing Kevin with him, as well as the gaps down to 8/7 of a second. Kevin staying right behind the Williams for the time being. Eric following closely behind as well in the second Red Bull. Then Sasha has a great exit out of the chicane. He's going to try and go for the move on the Red Bulls, pulls to the outside, but Eric stays on the inside, later on the break. Sasha will try to go for the switchback and gets the traction down. It's a beautiful switchback, textbook switchback, and Sasha puts himself up in 4th place as Octavius losing places left, right and center, drops down to P10, definitely not as comfortable as some of these drivers, and gained a lot of positions on the opening lap due to some chaos up ahead, but now starting to drop behind a little bit. His teammate Colin also made a pit stop at the end of lap 1 to go onto the hard tires. Everyone else started on the mediums, apart from Enzo. And so Max in P11, he started on the hard tires. We go on to lap 4 of this race. Finn is stabilizing the gap between himself and Lucas, but having to use quite a bit of battery to keep that gap around 1 second. But Lucas is doing enough to keep himself within 1 second as Octavia. A bit of a moment there with Enzo Max on the exit, hitting the wall as well. The exit there now will be under pressure from Ryan, who will, well, I'm sure, will try to get past these guys as soon as possible, otherwise he'll lose too much time and won't be in such a good position. Here he goes around the outside. Look at the speed difference there between the Cadillac and the McLaren, as Kevin getting ahead there of Lucas, trying to have a look around the outside of Finn as well. Goes deep into the chicane. Now it's going to be the boost mode and slipstream for Kevin. Is he going to try and get ahead of Finn Geerts immediately? He can pull to the outside towards the braking zone, and Finn is going to let him go, I think. Yes, he is. So Kevin from P3 to P1 in just a couple of corners time, and he is now our new race leader at the end of lap 4.
Beautiful move from Kevin Zuckerberg. Took on Lucas and took on Finn Geerts. 2 for 1 there as he pops himself now in the lead of the Grand Prix. Let's see how he control the pace out in front, but won't be able to pull away as the guys behind will have overtake. Lucas is trying to size up Finn Geerts as Finn Geerts now has the overtake for the first time in this race, as the driver behind who's under a second will get that overtake, which means more power through the battery as Finn Geerts overshot turn 2, which means he could have picked up a track limit violation. He's under massive pressure from Lucas right behind as well, forced almost into an overtake to try and maintain his position. Lucas is trying to put on the pressure on Finn Geerts, but Finn defending in the right place, is trying to keep his car in the middle of the road there, so just give Lucas an inch or an opening as we now make our way down towards turn 6. So all these guys now in close proximity of each other. Kevin Zuckerberg will become under pressure. I wonder if Lucas will try and move past Finn Geerts to try and stay with Kevin Zuckerberg. Here he is then with the overtake, not use the battery on this straight, but Finn going around the outside in turn 9, and he did it before the corner. Goes a bit wide. Can he keep it on the road? Yes, he can, as he maintains the lead of the race while he goes up into first place. Kevin is fighting back immediately on the RP driver, but as you can see, backs off there. You won't see many people try and attack too aggressively because they try and conserve and wait for the right moments too, because if you attack too aggressively and too early at the stage, you'll use a lot of battery and become defenseless and vulnerable like Kick is. He just went off the track, and now Happy Meal is right behind him too, trying to pick up the pieces. He's still stuck behind Kick ever since the first lap of the race. He pushed it wide through turn 12 and lost the car, but he's right behind him now, looks to try and take on his attacker, but unable to find a move and get past Kick. He's running no assist as well, so don't forget Kick is running no assist this season, hence why he's not matched the pace of the guys in front. But with this Lyco, it's easier with no assist to follow people because you follow their lines, follow the braking zones. I do find that easier, but in qualifying you are left alone and you try to use your own reference points and braking zones too, because in the race you can definitely tell when people what lines they're using, when they are braking and accelerating too. So you have that advantage. You use the guy in front of you as a preference point, but sometimes when you get past that guy, you lose your reference points and therefore start making mistakes. Look at this then, in battle we go. Kevin's been shuffled down into P3 as we see him fighting back and still remains in the lead. Sorry, I got confused there. Kevin Zuckerberg, I'm used to seeing in the Alpine. I saw the Alpine get pushed back and I thought it was Kevin, but Kevin is in the Red Bull. Here comes Williams then, side by side with the Alpine, headed down in towards turn 11 in the braking zone. They're super close on entry. Lucas there, can he get a better exit ahead of Finn Hertz? Yes, he can. This is brilliant racing. Sasha looking to try and get his nose involved in the wrong place, but luckily did take out the RP drivers. I think he would have been a day late and $1 short if he tried that move going down the inside there. The gap was always going to close, and Finn Hertz was never going to allow Sasha to come through. Look at the race. It's lap 7 already. These laps are flowing by. It is a short track on his calendar. Is the Australian Grand Prix. I think it's 5.2 kilometers long. Eric has already inherited a 3-second tap to lap 7. So a few people have been abusing the track limits I've seen, and Eric is the first one to pick up his 3rd transgression, which has turned now into a 3-second tap, which means he has a deficit towards the guys, and unfortunately for him, has to carry the weight on the shoulders for the rest of the race there. No getting rid of the 3-second tap, you have to carry it all the way through to the end of the race, and your main hope is that other people in front of you falter by also picking up penalties or making mistakes or making contact with each other. So as we make our way now around the island we go, it is still Kevin Sutterberg who maintains his ground at the front of the field, with Lucas and Finn Hertz settling in P2 and P3. It has settled down a bit right now, but I can see one man in the move, which is Sasha, who is trying to force moves left, right and centre. Here we go, down towards the breaker, so Finn on the defensive, but Sasha with the momentum around the outside, can he make it stick? And then we can't, he gets put on the curb there, which enables him to get a good exit, because if you try and get the power too early whilst on the curb, you'll have massive wheel spin and spin, and we've seen many people in the past spin at turn 11 because they're too trigger happy on the throttle and let the rear tyres up. But look at these guys, the top 9 all in a big train, as we see in the background there as Fireblaze defending from Happy Meal. Kick, however, in somewhere on that lap got past Fireblaze and now up into P6, and Happy Meal is on his tail.
Here on lap 8, the entire top 9 still within 1 second of each other, but Erik is falling behind a little bit behind the top 4. Also now the other driver inside the top 10 with that 3-second time penalty, but at the moment just doing enough to keep that gap from extending over 1 second. But you can have to see that Finn and Sasha have to put the pressure on, and the likes of Lucas and Kevin, who's now got a 6-10 gap towards the car behind. Stop Davia picking up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Let's hope he's not going to cause some issues later on in this race, as Sasha is not quite close enough. Erik now 1.1 seconds behind, and he's not really that comfortable on the ERS either. So seems like our reigning world champion is struggling on this game with these brand new cars and regulations. At the moment is not within the ERS range, or the ERS range within the 1 second window. You want to be to get that overtake mode on to the next lap. I don't think he's actually going to be able to get it by the end of lap 8. Might be very close between Red Bull and the Haas. He might gain some time with Sasha getting a bit held up in that final second, but actually don't know, he hasn't got it. So Erik starting to drop behind a little bit, and it might become a little bit of a problem and turn it into a 4-way fight for the race win potentially, as we go into lap 9 of 29. Things have definitely settled down a little bit, especially at the front end of the field, as they all follow each other through. I said Erik didn't get it, but I think he still got it, because the bar is still blue on his telemetry. So just doing enough for the time being, but definitely not as comfortable as the 3 drivers up ahead, and bringing Kick with him as well in the Williams. Then Fireblaze still under pressure for a little bit from Happy Meal, and Sam in P9. Ryan in P11, not able to get ahead of the RB of Enzo Max, is still down there in P11, as Sam in the Mercedes also picking up a 3-second time penalty. One of the 2 Cadillacs are having some troubles at the back of the field. Here comes Kick all around the outside of Erik, and he's going to take 5th place, and that might help Erik to try and get back closer towards the top 4, because Kick has got that momentum, as there's the Cadillac in the gravel trap. So if it's not going to cause a safety car, that's Octavia who's out of this race. Colin is able to continue, as that is a big moment from Finn Geert through the chicane. Here comes Sasha on the inside, and he's going to get ahead as Finn backs out, now trying to have a look around the outside, but knows that is not going to work out here through the penultimate corner. So TK now also having troubles on his outlap. Just made a pit stop to the hard tires, but seems to be struggling, and has went for a spin at the end of sector 1 as we go on to lap 10 of 29. Kevin still holding his lead, and there are yellow flags behind as Fireblaze and Erik also fighting, and Erik dropping behind yet another position.
No!
Fireblaze spins on the exit!
No!
Oh, and Erik hits the back and has picked up front wing damage. Fireblaze too eager on throttle, losing the back end on his own, going around, and unfortunately Erik is the one that gets called out as a victim in that accident, and he's got front wing damage, and we'll see the RB of Enzo Max going past him, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan is going to get past him as well, but that has just eliminated 2 drivers from that fight inside the top 10. Happy Meal's now 1.3 seconds behind in a low battery, so he might not be able to get back within 1 second. So that is so unfortunate there between Fireblaze and Erik.
Yeah, you don't really see Fireblaze making some mistakes like that. It is such a rookie, easy mistake to do, especially in a high pressure situation and needs no configuration of the car's traction can be a problem too, especially with the boost mode, because you've got more input through the back wheels of the car and spinning around as well. Simon gets past Happy. He's up into, oh, what's happened to Happy? He's in the gravel. So another contender who has fallen down the order and relegated down into P8 now as his former teammate goes past. And Enzo Max is also trying to go and sneak around the outside there, but it's turning into a disappearing wedge. Erik is in the pit lane, and Finn Hurst is in the pit lane. So we've got our first top runner who is pitted onto a new set of the hardcore power tyres. So he's triggered the pit stops, as at this phase in the race, the medium power tyres will start to fall away. And then think about pit stops. So he rejoins in P10, and thankfully for him, he does have clean air. So can he use this moment to try and push as hard as he can, as we say, outlap critical, as the team radios say? And this is definitely critical indeed, because it will decipher whether he rejoins in first place or third. Kick is 1.5 seconds away from Sasha. He was broken up when I think Finn Hurst pitted there. So Kick with no assist in P4, dropping away slightly. He's got no battery. It's such a sinking feeling when you're behind in a DRS train, or shall I say a slipstream train, and you got no battery. You just feel like you're just losing so much time and wonder where can you do it. But the guys ahead of him does have overtaken. He's fallen by the wayside now in P4. I wonder, oh, Kevin's made a mistake. Oh, is that a puncher? Did I just see a puncher? No, it looked like my eyes deceived me. I swear down, I saw the tyres like flop up and down. It must have been the gravel that did it. I thought for 1 second Kevin had a puncher then as he enters the pit lane. Then he's had enough of those really compound tyres, gives us a ghost on those tyres. They'll definitely lose a lot of time. And thanks to him making that mistake, it slows Lucas and Sasha down. And as a result, it could promote Finn Hurst up into P1. Kevin's in the pit lane, quick change of tyres from the Red Bull crew. Chud does 80 kilometers an hour. I think it's about 40 miles per hour in those metrics, but let's see where Kevin rejoins. Is it ahead or behind Finn? Finn Hurst is up into P5, which means when first and second place pits, Finn Hurst will maintain the lead of this race. He's got a big gap over Kevin, about 3 seconds. That's the power of the undercut, and it also demonstrates how costly that mistake is for. So Kevin's mistake has been huge, and that could decide for the race, and that is 3 seconds. 1 lap tyre deficit is not going to be major, but we know Kevin's pace is super strong. Can he catch Finn Hurst? For those who are joining, you can see that the visual glitch is happening. These guys do have straight mode, but it's not on our cameras, so it's not visually displaying that the drivers are opening and closing their rear wings. It is a visual glitch. I'm not quite sure if it's my end or everybody else's end whilst they're commentating, but definitely it needs to be sorted out there. And so straight mode is not activated on our screens. Sasha and Lucas in first and at second place. Will they go in the pit lane towards the end of this lap? They should do, because they'll lose a whole amount of time. Yes, they do. So Sasha and Lucas then follow each other in the pit lane, and in front of us, that is Colin versus Tim. Down in towards turn 1 goes the Haas. Can he make a stick? Yes, he does, as the Haas puts himself into P13. Sorry, Cadillac. Colin was in the Haas last season, but similar colours, because I saw the white side of the car. I saw the car, which was white, so I assumed it was a Haas, but it is a Cadillac with their luxurious colours. I love the t-shirts, by the way. I know it's off topic, but the t-shirts are lovely for the Cadillac. It's expensive as hell, over £100 for a t-shirt. It's unbelievable these days how much a t-shirt could cost. But Lucas then jumps Kevin, and Kevin does not get the undercut on Lucas, which is going to be critical for him as well. So Lucas rejoins in P3 on a set of the new hardcore power tyres, but the gap is 2.5 seconds between Lucas and Finn. So Finn has clear air. Can he stay ahead of the guys for the rest of the race?
The undercut is so incredibly powerful. 3 seconds separating our former race leaders from each other. Finn ahead of Lucas, 3 seconds. Kevin is just right behind as well in P4, so not able to get the undercut on Lucas. But these guys, they will have, well, a little bit of a tire advantage, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to be enough to beat the likes of Finn Geerts. They're going to have to work together with each other with the boost and overtake mode to try and close the gap back down towards the Alpine to give themselves a shot of winning this race. Sasha also still within this train, so the trio are going to be chasing after the Alpine. Enzo Max, he's still out on the lead. He has started on the hard tire, so he's going to be continuing on for at least a few more laps before he's going to make his pit stop and go on to the medium. So he might get Finn for company in a few laps, and let's hope it's not going to make the life of the Alpine driver too difficult. Otherwise he will lose quite a bit of time. Kick in the Williams now, after being dropped behind a little bit due to the pit stops, is also not within that ERS range anymore, as he's 3 seconds behind as well in P6. And then Erik, who I don't think he's changed his front wing, I'm not quite sure actually if he has, but he is under big pressure here from Sam, Ryan and Happy Meal. He's going to get the Mercedes on his right hand side, and the McLaren is going to go past as well and drops in 2 positions on one straight. Dropping back down to P9. He hasn't got the boost mode either on this lap, so way more difficult to defend yourself without that activation. Happy Meal right behind as well. We'll be looking to get ahead of his former teammate, but he hits the grass on the inside of turn 6 and gets a very poor exit, so not going to be able to make that work, as Ryan and Sam are going side by side. Ryan on the inside using that battery and gets ahead of his fellow QDR driver. And Ryan now up at the 7th place from 15th on the grid, but unfortunately for him I don't think it's going to be any higher than that. Well, maybe he gets ahead of Enzo Max once he makes his pit stop, but then he will be probably under pressure towards the end of the race when he is on that medium tire and will have the tire advantage. And still, of course, he's going to be in this massive train and we'll be fighting with each other probably all the way towards the end of the race. We're only halfway through this race, but still there's so much that can happen. As the gap between Finn and Lucas is down to 2.1 seconds, you can see that Lucas has also got a bit of an ERS advantage, so it seems like he is slowly but surely trying to bring that gap down. Of course, he's got a 2-lap tire advantage compared to the Alpine, but at the moment he's gaining, well, maybe a handful of tenths every single lap, not too much, but maybe towards the end of the race is where it's going to get real spicy between these fours. He's bringing Kevin and Sasha with him, so Lucas has got some great pace right now and is able to keep Kevin behind. We're still trying to overtake and trying to work together at the moment with the Williams. So Lucas is doing a good job of staying relatively well ahead of the Red Bull, and the Haas of Sasha is very close to the back of Kevin, but I don't think it's going to be wise to try and fight it out on track at this stage of the race when you're all trying to close the gap towards the virtual race leader of Finn, who is catching up to the back now of Enzo Max, so he might run in a little bit of traffic and might lose a bit of time with that. But as the gap is now down to 1.4 seconds, so Lucas really gaining a lot of time on this lap. Oh, Finn goes off! He's into the gravel on the exit of turn 12, and that is a massive mistake, a costly mistake for the Alpine. And now the Williams, Red Bull and the Haas are right behind him. Here comes Lucas out of the final corner with the help of the boost. It's going to get ahead, and suddenly this race is completely put upside down, and Lucas now finds himself back into the virtual race lead.
And Finn Hirsch just settled into rhythm now. He's behind Lucas, save some batteries, stick on the back of him and overtake it later, but Kevin Soderberg is right behind him, but Finn Hirsch is a bit late to the brakes. I noticed that in the first sector, Lucas loses time in the first sector, and then in the middle one, Finn Hirsch is super low on battery, so I think they're using battery at different points of the racetrack where Lucas gains about 7/10 of a second in the middle alone, as Finn Hirsch, I saw on the last lap, was running 0% battery, while Lucas about 40-50% in his disposal to use. Sasha is really reeling in Kevin Soderberg. He's in the wheel tracks and slipstream, but the same for Kevin on Finn. Here comes Kevin Soderberg with no battery, but blast past the Haas driver, the RP driver, sorry, his former team he was in last season, and now Finn is really struggling here to try and stay on the road. Sasha right behind, pulls the left hand side, and Sasha takes away P4. Finn Hirsch's advantage has completely been swindled and blown away. It's just dropped a lot of places. Look like he's going slowly too for good measure. So Finn Hirsch's pace has been gone. He was on pole position, he was looking very strong. The undercut worked to a treat, and now he's down as a P5. Enzo Max has completed his stint on the hardcore power tyres to switch over to the faster medium rubber, as his team prepares for him in the pit lane. So who is he fighting? It must be the guys at the back of the field. They might be joined down in P12 because Mummy Nick is coming towards the final corner. And Erik has retired from the Australian Grand Prix. From the highs last season to the low here in Australia, the consistency from Erik has been absolutely incredible to watch. But unfortunately here this season it's completely been swindled around, and he has retired here in Australia too. So he hasn't kick-started to perfection, but there's a long way to go this season. A season isn't won in a race, it's won across majority, obviously, in all races too, trying to score as many points as you can, be consistent, picking up those podiums, those points. But here in Australia, he picks up 0 points and he's out of this race. Finn has dropped behind. The gap has gone to 1.3, so he's definitely struggling. And there's not much of a big tyre difference between the guys in front of him too. Look at Sasha. He has been trying to overtake Kevin for the past few laps, but unable to find a move. He has been looking really racy since the wreck from the get-go. This man won last season in Australia. Is he about to do it again though? We're about to find out. Kevin here in the middle on the older tyres compared to Lucas and Sasha. And Sasha has been in the attack ever since the start of the race. He mugged Eric in towards turn 11 on the outside, made a beautiful move at a switchback, and now he's attacking a second Red Bull driver. Finn Hurst is in the pit lane. Hopefully he don't retire because 4th place is still a decent result. So yes, he has, which is a shame to see because, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but P4 would have been a good result, but he quit now and he's out the Grand Prix, so not good sportsmanship there for Finn. It's either win or nothing for some drivers, and Finn Hurst unfortunately has retired from this race and out of it. So down towards these three to decide who will win the opening race in Australia. These three have been competitive since last season as well. They're strong, quick drivers, all have their own strengths and weaknesses. Kevin Zuckerberg has won a championship in season 5, and Finn says he has somewhere to go. So thank you for joining us, Finn. Pleasure to have you. Here comes Sasha, wheel to wheel with Kevin, and Sasha moves up into P2. So he's finally dispatched Kevin and put himself into P2, and this man is looking super strong at this stage of the race. Lucas in jeopardy in first place. Now he's got Sasha right behind.
Great move there from Sasha, puts himself in second place. Now he can try and chase after Lucas, but of course we've got 11 laps to go. He can try and overtake him now, but well, it's not going to be worth much unless he's going to try and build a gap, but that's really difficult to do with these cars, especially around a track like this when you've got so many straights to use the battery, so many opportunities. So he's probably, well, he might try and get ahead, but he will get re-overtaken quite soon, immediately after. So it's all about those final few laps and who's going to be ahead of who, and then we'll see the real fight for the race. But now he's closing the gap down to around 4/10 of a second. Of course, Lucas, without that the overtake mode, he has got quite a bit of battery in hand though, a little bit more than Sasha, but with that boost mode activated for Sasha, he for sure is going to have a straight line speed advantage down the straight, as Kevin is dropping behind a little bit in the Red Bull. The gap was around 1 second for a brief moment there. Now it's going to use that battery to try and get back within that 1 second window of Sasha, who was staying behind the Williams driver for the time being. But when will he make the move? That is the question that we'll get an answer to in the following laps, as the gap is 0.2 of a second coming out of the turns 9 and 10 chicane. Not going to use that battery right now and choosing to stay behind as expected with 11 laps to go, not trying to risk anything, and just sitting in the wheel tracks of the Williams drivers. Mominic gets ahead of Fireblaze to put himself in 8th place, but he has got a 3-second time penalty. That is going to hurt his chances of finishing there in 8th. And Fireblaze will be quite disappointed with that moment a couple of laps ago, where he spun and lost control. Of course, Eric wasn't too happy about that either, because he was the bystander in that. But Fireblaze now down in P9. Yellow flags are up ahead, but I think that is for Colin and TVHNL getting themselves involved there, hopefully not too involved in the fight for the race. That would be quite something. Sasha a little bit deep there in turn 2, trying to find a way to move past Luke, as Sam and Ryan are working together. They bring Happy Meal with them still, and they both have got a 3-second time penalty, so they will lose the position to Happy Meal by the end of the race. So it's going to be at least probably a P5 finish for Happy Meal, which still would be quite decent. Given the bad luck he's had at the beginning of the race when he dropped all those positions. Or maybe they will be able to close the gap towards Kik. It's around 3 seconds right now, and Kik is now 8 seconds behind Kevin, Sasha and Luke. And Sasha really put the pressure once again on the back of the Williams, but not quite close enough to go for the move. Doesn't really want to make the move just yet, but he is letting the Williams driver know that he is there, and showing himself in the mirrors for the Williams driver and trying to force an error maybe, and try and find a way past quite soon, as we go on to lap 29 out of the final quarter. 9 laps to go. The fight is still very much on between Lucas, Sasha and Kevin, but when is it gonna evolve into this massive 3-way fight for the race, and which of these 3 is gonna come out on top? That is gonna be a question, but for now it is calm before the storm as Lucas and Sasha and Kevin follow each other through on lap 21.
Certainly indeed, so expect the fireworks to kick off possibly a lap 28 or 29. We know Sasha just managing the battery, driving behind Lucas, making him sure that he's there, alerted his presence and trying to force Lucas into a mistake. But Lucas at this stage doesn't seem phased so far. He's probably trying to repent and counteract the attack from Sasha by trying to save the battery himself and using all the boost on the last lap. Well, say boost, overtake on the last lap. But here comes Sasha, so the plan has been changed, and Sasha moves up into first place to take the lead of the race at lap 21 out of 29. But Kevin Soderberg is dropping pace. He's in third and loses so much time now, so he's been dropped out of this battle as Kevin Soderberg. He's not able to keep up with first and second place then. So it's down to these two to decide who will win the Australian Grand Prix, as Kevin Soderberg is unable to catch up there to Sasha and Lucas. So what such pace these two have had in front so far, especially Sasha as well, because he's been looking racy and feisty ever since lap 1 of the race when he overtook Eric and made his way through one by one, calm and patient. You know, he wasn't really, well, he's trying to force some moves, but he wasn't too aggressive against the guys in front. He was waiting, biding his time and making those moves when he had to as well. A bit of dirt on the camera lens. I've never noticed that before. As Hakimov then moves up into P5 ahead of Sam. There's a massive field spread in this race. Not really a big field spread as expected, given how close and compacted the qualifier times were. But obviously these guys have had their mistakes in these races, hence why they're so far apart as well. So that's why there's only 3 people fighting for first, second and third. Kevin Soderberg has brought himself back into play, but he doesn't have the battery. Yes, he does obviously, but he doesn't have the overtake available to him, which puts him at a disadvantage, especially on this straight, because look at the battery these guys are saved up first and at second place. Lucas 60%, while Kevin Soderberg just drops backwards. That's why he got to leverage on how much you use the battery and how much you save as well, because if you use it one go, you don't have it, and that's the disadvantage you put yourself on. It just drains so quickly as well. It is an annoying aspect and feature we do have on the DLC, but that's what happens in real life as well. You use so much battery at one point, the guy behind you will overtake you. It's called the pass and repass, the swapping around, the yo-yo effect, as we've seen many times as I've commentated in social races and leagues itself on this game. You'll see the pass and repass and overtaking in unexpected places too. Some drivers do go for moves in places you don't really see overtaking, and that's also what this game also has done to as well. So there's only about 6 laps left to go in this race. So Sasha versus Lucas, the two Dutchmen go for the win. Lucas has never won a championship in SDN. His teammate has Kick. He's won a championship back in season 3 when it was his competitive rivalry between himself, Finn Hertz, Fireblaze, Mike and Eastband, and Kick has won since season 3, as his teammate Lucas is looking in the best seat in the house in P2, just following Sasha and just waiting for the right moment at this stage in the race to overtake him. When will it be? Will he overtake earlier than expected? Will he go for the move now? Will he go for it later? I think the wise thing to do to Lucas is just stay behind Sasha, regen the battery, charge up to as much as he can, then blast it wherever, down towards turn number 9 or turn 11, depends where he will overtake. And Sasha, on the other hand, will have to try to anticipate when he will overtake as well. He has to try to save a battery as much as he can. Massive wheel spin at the exit of turn 11 there. I think he went the curb and just encountered a lot of wheel spin too, for good measure, as Lucas there just sized up a move, obviously not going to go for it, just try to force Sasha into false of fake security indeed. Kevin Soderberg though, I think it's safe to say he's been counted out of this battle. He's been dropped behind. He's down by 2 seconds now between himself and Lucas then, so it's just these two, and these two will hopefully give us a good race towards the end as well. There's a massive gap between Kevin and Kick, so Kevin secured in P3, no one will challenge him unless a safety car comes out at this stage of the race. Tim in P12 was going for a little bit of a spin down there. He had a great qualifying inside the top 10, but unfortunately for him, he's dropped into P11. Colin, who's been at the back most of the time, is P11, and Max ahead of us is about to make a move on Mum and Nick, going around the outside in turn 3. That's a decent move. Can he hold it? He's still there as Nick. Can Nick fight back? No, he can't, as Enzo Max there goes up into P9. Next target is Fireblaze on those older hardcore power tyres. Remember, Enzo Max started on the hardcore power tyres. He converted to the mediums and on the better race tyre, so his next target should be easy, which is Fireblaze in front of him. And after that, it is Sam, who's about 5 seconds away, but does have a 3-second advantage. Mum and Nick repasses Enzo Max, so Enzo Max will not appreciate that, as Nick puts himself up to P9. That's the that's the passive repass you'll see. Even on better tyres, sometimes it's not always the best thing to watch. So being on better tyres, it's just so hard to pull away, because once you use the battery to get past the guy in front of you, the guy behind you with more battery will re-overtake you and re-pass you. That's the problem we have as well. Even if you have a massive tyre advantage, it still could be a huge issue. But now there's 4 laps left to go, and Lucas super close to the back of Sasha, but just waiting for the right time to make his mark.
Just see how difficult it is. Once you're not in that 1 second window, how difficult it is to gain time on the cars ahead, as Kevin has a massive moment here out of turn 4, almost losing the back end completely and losing a couple of tenths in that moment. But the gap's down to up to 2.8 seconds. Once you're out of that 1 second window, it's so difficult to close that gap back down, especially around a track like this. And it has left us with a two-way fight in Sasha and Lucas. And Lucas is just sitting and waiting behind, counting the laps down, not attempting to make any moves on Sasha, not until the final lap at least. And Sasha will know that, so he might have to try something at some point. Probably will hold off the Williams, try and get him to overtake the Haas driver. We might see some tactics towards the end of the race, because you do not want to be the one ahead going onto the final lap around Melbourne, because you've got so many straight line straights around this track, and you really need that boost mode to have that speed to try and stay ahead of one another, as Sam and Ryan still fighting their way out. And Happy actually is starting to close the gap towards Kick. It's now 1.3 seconds, so Kick not very comfortable in P4 right now, and his P4 might be at risk, as Happy is closing the gap down. He's bringing the 2 QDR boys of Sam and Ryan with them, of course, but those two, they do have a 3-second time penalty, so it's going to be any threat for that P4 finish. But it could be a fight potentially between Kick and Happy Meal, and that we might see later on as Enzo Max. In the meantime, has got back ahead of Mommy Nick, and we'll be looking to get ahead of Firebase, with his tire advantage on the mediums will start to fade as well, because he's been on these tires for 9 laps. And that is when the tire wear will start to kick in, as Lucas has gone for the move on Sasha on lap 26. So definitely a bit earlier than expected. And now Sasha might be the one who's going to sit behind for the remainder of this race until the final lap, and then he's going to try and make that move. Didn't expect Lucas to go for the move already here on lap 26, but it has happened. So now he's going to be the one leading onto the next lap. And I do wonder if he's going to stay there in that position, or if he will want to let the Haas driver back through. The truth is, we've got 3 laps to go in this race. Lucas leads by a couple of tenths ahead of Sasha. Kevin is 2.7 seconds behind, not losing too much time, as those two are sitting close behind and not using too much of their battery, so not really gaining too much time on the Red Bull. But Kevin is also not gaining any time on them, so the gap is going to stay around 3 seconds, I feel like. As Kick going on to lap 27, and the gap is down to under a second between himself and Happy Meal. Has used everything of his battery, the Alpine driver, but he does have the boost mode on this lap, so he's going to be trying to bring that gap, stabilize it under a second, and then he might have a chance of overtaking the Williams potentially on the final lap of this race. But for now, he's using a bit of battery to still have that in hand. That is a big moment there of for Kick, I think, on the exit of turn 4, same where Kevin had a moment 2 laps ago. So that's not going to make it any easier for him to try and stay ahead of the Alpine driver, as we see Eva Chanel and Colin still fighting away at the back of the field, and Enzo Max once again dropping behind Dominic as his mediums will start to fade. But at the front, Lucas, as expected, still ahead of Sasha, but the crucial lap might be 28, and then we'll see who's going to be leading on to the final lap, because the one in second place going on to the final lap of the race probably is going to have the best chances of winning this race.
Indeed, so Sasha has picked up his first transition in this race. The exit of turn 5 went a little bit wide and picked up his first warning, and it's only his first warning, so hopefully he doesn't pick up more. He shouldn't do with only 2 laps left to go in this race. These two have been cynical so far. These two have had a taste of victory in Australia before, but who is about to get the taste of victory again for the season open here in Australia? There is 2 laps left to go in this race, but don't really expect anything to happen on this lap. I think the main part is going to happen on the last lap. So the climatic of this race is starting to build up. You see Lucas just harvesting and harvesting. He knows this battle's incoming. He wants to try and save as much battery as he can, try and mitigate and stay in first place. But Sasha on the attack, use the battery now. Is this the moment where Sasha strikes on Lucas? Here he comes then, side by side with the Williams driver, and Sasha moves up into first place ahead of Lucas. But Lucas's battery situation is much more better than the Haas's. So I wonder why Lucas saving battery that part of the track has helped him massively. But Sasha's saving battery now. He's got no battery to his name. He's going wheel to wheel in the breaker zone towards turn 11. I think these drivers there want to stay in second place, but they're lifting off massively as well. But Sasha ultimately has to be the one to take the bait and stay in first place. Yellow flags in the background. There's the Haas driver, who I think is, or Cadillac driver, who is, I think, Colin in P12 there on the soft compound tyres. But round the final corner, one more time in this race, the last lap of the Grand Prix, 5.2 kilometers here at the Australian Grand Prix, the season opener. Who will it belong to? Lucas or Sasha? Both men. Oh, Lucas almost dropped it out of turn number 1 and turn 2. Same place as Valtteri Bottas in 2018. Sorry, I had to make that comment there. I know you're a Bottas fan, but he did win 1 year later in Australia 2019. But Lucas managed to save it. That could have been the race ender right there, when he pitted the throttle too early and almost lost the car like Fireblaze did, but Fireblaze was able to save it as he got hit behind by Eric. But here we go then. Lucas has 90% battery. Sasha down to 40 already then. So is Lucas' battery saving a bit more sufficient than Sasha's? Here we come then. Lucas is a bit too far away from Sasha as we make our way now towards turn 9 and turn 10. But turn 10, can Lucas set himself up? Look at the speed he's carrying to the corners. Activates the battery. Can he make a move? Going down in towards turn 11. Sasha does not cover the inside line. Lucas goes down the inside in towards the break. So here we go. Wheel to wheel. This is the battle for the lead of the race. And Lucas just gets ahead of Sasha. But Sasha is coming back around the outside. Goes off the track and keeps it there. But has the inside line for the next corner. This is intense between the two. Sasha and Lucas, they're fighting for glory, fighting for the first win. Sasha on the outside, he's done it. He's got past Lucas. Lucas had a terrible exit, and Sasha makes his way towards the line. Sasha wins the first race of the season in Australia. What a battle between those two. Kept it fair and clean. Lucas finishes in P2, Kevin in P3. Hatfield force ahead of Kick. What a first race that was. Those two were going at it in the final sector. The tension was high, the stakes were high between those two, but in the end, it was Sasha who prevails, and it's Sasha who wins the first race of the season, like he did last season too. So this is a good start to the season for Sasha, who has improved massively in terms of pace and racecraft and consistency as well. Can he carry that momentum all the way through? But yeah, well done to those two. It was a very good battle. It could have been so easy for both men to knock each other out of the way and put each other on the grass there, but they didn't. Lucas did lose it to the final corner, but obviously it's a tight corner and you expect to lose it too, because traction can be so difficult, especially on old tyres too. So yeah, respect for both drivers there as well. I think if it was anybody else, they could have just easily pushed each other off the track. But sportsmanship and respect was given between two drivers who excelled beautifully in this race and had the pace all the way through as well. Kevin might be disappointed. He did pick up a 3-second time penalty towards the end of the race, but it didn't affect his position because he was miles ahead of the guys behind too, so he finishes at P3. But the day belongs to this man, Sasha, who celebrates on the podium for another win. He only took one win last season, which was quite strange, but picked up a whole plethora of penalties, podiums as a result too. But is this Sasha's season? I know it's early to say, but he has proved a lot as a driver, and he's also in ILT, and ILT would definitely help him get those results too, with their setups, with their mentoring too. But the drivers have joined the interviews. I need to invite Lucas, but Lucas's name's so long I can't seem to find him anywhere. Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you. So the drivers then do join the podium interviews, the top three, which is Kevin, Sasha and Lucas. We start from third place upwards, of course. So Kevin Zuckerberg, congratulations on the podium, mate, in P3. You may not be happy with that considering you're in a fight for first and second place, but towards the end, could you explain what happened to you with the lack of pace? You just didn't have the pace to catch the top two?
Basically the whole race didn't have the pace. My setup just had zero grip on the rear. As you can probably tell by the half spin I had just before the pits, where I lost the lead and gone to P3. I just had no grip and I made a mistake. And once you are low on battery, because you have to use the same as the people in front to stay in the same gap. If you have less, you just try and struggle and keep with them, but eventually you just you can't regain the ERS that they use. So then you're just a sitting duck, and eventually you will get gapped. And yeah, that's basically what happened. Made a mistake, and then I didn't have the battery, and you can't regain it even though you're in the second, because yeah, it's just not how this game works.
And how do you feel to this game? Are you climatic? Are you accumulating this game really well? Do you like the way it handles, or are you just on the fence with it?
To be honest, it's shit, but
Yeah.
you have to deal with it. But yeah, didn't have like basically no laps going into this race, so it was kind of expected, and the setup was just not right. So that's probably two things that made that made the struggles in the race. But still, yeah, P3 I guess. Damage limitation, even though it was a shit race, still get the podium.
Apologies about the language, but yeah, well done to you, Kevin. I know it's not the result you would have wanted, but P3 is still a good way to start the season. So good luck to you. And how do you feel for Silverstone next week, mate?
I like Silverstone much more than Australia, so should be good.
Thank you, mate. And Milan, you got any questions for Kevin?
No, not really. Just unfortunate about your race, but if you still finish on the podium on a bad day, then it's still going to be, I think, a good season. When you do have a good day and might be fighting for a race win. So still, congratulations on the podium.
Do you want to interview Lucas?
No,
Milan?
you can go on if you want.
Alright then, Lucas, congratulations on P2, mate. You just missed out. You had an intense scrap on the final corner with Sasha. Did you think you had it? Could there be anything different you could have done?
Yeah, it was just 50-50 to be honest. Luckily I had more battery down the final straight before the sector 3 basically, or in sector 3. So I could get alongside, but yeah, after that it was just, yeah, basically a 50-50 for me. Great battle. Yeah, that's it basically. Still happy with P2.
And how are you finding this game? Because you look very quick out there today. Good battery management, and you just missed out on the win. So do you think this season could be different for you? Do you think that there's more chance for you to be winning more races?
Yeah, I think so. If I just keep up the pace I had today. I mean, yeah, it's a lot different from all the other F1 seasons we've had. So for everyone, it's just getting used to it now. So I hope I can just, yeah, stay at the top and hopefully get as much points as possible.
Well, you've been in a tense fight all the way through this race, swapping and changing positions and still coming out of P2, which is a solid result and definitely indeed a good way to start the season. So keep it up, mate, and I'm pretty sure you get stronger and stronger. Well done today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How do you feel for the British GP?
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Yeah, I'll just have to look what my pace is there. Battery drains quite hard, I think, on Silverstone. Same as here, so I hope, yeah, a bit the same tactics as I did today, and hopefully, yeah, again, it's in the top 3.
Well, congratulations on P2. Good luck for the next race in Silverstone. Milan, do you want to ask questions to Sasha?
Sasha, well, yeah, sure. So first of all, congratulations on the racing. And I have to ask though, what really has changed? Because it seems like you're winning everything on this game. Dean, what was your thought process going on to the final lap? Because normally around a track like this, you don't want to be the one leading going to the final lap. Yeah, well done on the win. So what are your thoughts then on Silverstone next week? let's hope so. Congratulations on it.
Well done, Sasha. Great race to start the season, mate. And your form is so good. You won the Australian Grand Prix last season, and definitely you look stronger and stronger as each race goes by. So I can't wait to see what you do for the rest of the season. Good luck, mate. You're welcome. That's the end of the Australian Grand Prix. We move on to Silverstone and my home race, and it's been a super hot one as well today. I'm pretty sure Milan, and all the drivers are absolutely sweaty as well. So hopefully we can all cool down a bit and relax. But Milan, mate, thank you very much for commentating with me. It's been an absolute pleasure for the first race of the season. Not the turnout we wanted, with only 15 drivers, but hopefully the attendance will get much better as each races go along.
Indeed, always a pleasure, and looking forward to the next one.
We'll see you all next week for the British GP in Silverstone at 7:30 UK time. We'll see you all later. Goodbye now.